Taxi! Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Hello, welcome back. Happy Sunday. We have a very special guest with us today, Stephen A. Smith. Now, you think you know Stephen A. Smith, but I don't know that you do. I know Stephen A. Smith. He's a really special human being, and he's a phenomenal talent, and he is now a juggernaut. Has respect all across the country on a number of topics. Stephen Anthony Smith, that's the A. But you tend to think when people get to high places, sometimes you say, well, they got lucky. They got a break. That's not Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith did it the old-fashioned way. He did it with hard work. This is a man who worked his way up, got knocked on his tuchus, as we say in New York, a number of times, got himself back up, kept working, kept plugging, and has become a national voice that millions of people listen to. And he did it the old-fashioned way. And his talent and his tenacity make him who he is. Second point, he's on ESPN, as we know. He's also on Sirius Radio, as we know. And the name of the show on Sirius Radio, I think, says it all, Straight Shooter. Look, we are at a time where no one believes anyone. Everyone is full of beans. Everyone is carrying the party line. And everyone is afraid to tell you the truth. Maybe they're not going to be politically correct. Maybe their party won't like what they say. Maybe the Democrats, I know the Democrats, if you're a moderate Democrat, they're afraid of the far left. And people sense that. All these talking heads, you don't believe anyone. Stephen A. Smith, straight shooter. This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what I'm telling you. It's my opinion. You like it, you like it. You don't like it, you don't like it. You agree with me, fine. You disagree with me, fine. But it's me, ladies and gentlemen. And that is refreshing. Even if I disagree with you, it's refreshing to hear the truth. That's Stephen A. Smith. And I think that's why, especially today in this environment, he has been a juggernaut. And we're going to test that straight shooter mentality today, talk about a number of issues that are pressing. But first, Stephen A. Smith, thank you. Thank you very much, my friend, for being here.
Pleasure's all mine. It's an honor to talk to you, my man. How you doing? How's everything?
Everybody's good. Family is good. World is crazy. But, we control what we can. Look, we have a lot going on there. Let's start backwards and work our way forward.
Sure.
The Biden-Harris administration loses, hence we are where we are. Democratic Party does a quote-unquote autopsy report, and then Jill Biden does a book and says she thought Joe Biden was having a stroke the day of that fateful debate where he did so poorly. What do you make of that?
That last part really, really disturbed me, and it really bothered me. Because if you recall, when Biden went on that debate stage on June 27th in 2024 and essentially revealed what so many people had expected or had hoped wouldn't happen, but some people on the right were swearing was going on, he showed himself to be ill-equipped to run for a second term as president of the United States. That's the bottom line. And in the aftermath of that, a debacle, if ever there was one, on the debate stage against Donald Trump at that time, his wife comes out and she applauds his effort, and she said he was wonderful and he answered all the questions and all of this other stuff. And so to now come out with a book where you're proclaiming that you thought that he had had a stroke, that's something that the right is going to hold on to when it comes to the Democratic Party in terms of judging them accordingly, accusing them of being dishonest, not forthcoming, not open, and always trying to find a way to manipulate and dictate a narrative. That's not going to help the candidates for the Democratic Party moving forward, because so many people jumped on the bandwagon and were ultra supportive of Joe Biden at that time. And you may not know this, Governor, but for me personally, I'm on the airwaves and I said, we need a new president a year before that debate, because I saw what was transpiring. And I thought that the Democratic Party needed to make a concerted effort to get him to live up to his word that he was going to be a transitional president serving one term, and he was just there as a stopgap just to get beyond Trump, but to spearhead a new era for the Democratic Party. He went against that. He was feeling themselves because they did relatively well in the midterms. At the time that he was in office, he was feeling himself a little bit and was saying, hey, why do I need to go anywhere? And you knew that it was going to end disastrously. They had an opportunity to push him out and to position themselves to have a primary where a viable candidate to go up against Donald Trump would have happened the right way. I'm not trying to say that Kamala Harris was the wrong candidate. What I am trying to say, however, is the process that she had to endure was wrong, because by bypassing a primary and ultimately being inserted as the Democratic nominee, because he stepped away 3.5 weeks after that debacle of a debate on June 27th, put her in a position where once again the Democratic Party was perceived as a party for elitists and a party about the party and not about the people. Because if you recall, Governor, one of the things that I've said religiously about Donald Trump and the right is that whether you like it or not, they chose him. DeSantis was in your face. Nikki Haley was in your face. Ramaswamy was in your face. Governor Christie was in your face. Marco Rubio at one time back in 2016, and Ted Cruz's of the world and others were in your face. And twice, if not 3 times, 2016, 2020, 2024, Republicans throughout this country said, we want him. The people chose Donald Trump. Whereas with the Democratic Party, the latest example and the whole Biden debacle showed that once again, the party was picking for the people. Yeah. They did it with Hillary. It was her turn. They did it with Biden. It was her turn. His turn. They did it with Kamala Harris. It was her turn. That's not the way to really, really win over this country. Fortunately, the Democratic Party didn't listen to that, and their comeuppance arrived because they lost the election.
Yeah. And let's stay with the Democratic Party for a while, because, it's too easy to say the Republicans are bad. Republicans are bad.
Yes.
And by the way, I believe a lot of what they're doing is bad, but there's 2 teams, right? So you want to talk about the Republicans, yeah, but the Democrats are also on the court, and the Democrats have to win. It's not enough to say, well, the other team is going to lose. No.
Right.
How are you going to win? The Biden situation hurt the credibility of the Democratic Party to its core, because it wasn't just the debate. The year before, you had that parade of senior Democrats coming out of the White House, walking up to the mic stand, and every reporter would say, well, how'd the president look today? Because there were rumors, or, oh, the president looked great. He was doing jumping jacks, and he was doing one-arm push-ups, and boy, the man has more stamina. It was all a crock. It was all a crock. Anyone who saw him knew that this job was taking its toll. Anybody knew that. And then Jill Biden says the night of the debate, she knew there was a problem. But then why didn't you say something so the Democrats could go out and have an orderly process? I think it cost us a great amount of credibility, especially the Democratic Party, which is supposed to be the party of truth and courage, right?
What I love about what you're saying, Governor, is, and by the way, I say to you, Governor, because you'll always be my governor. I'm a native New Yorker. My parents, God rest their soul, grew up loving the ground your daddy walked on. Late great Mario Cuomo. And obviously you were a 3-term governor in the state of New York. We all know the work that you did. And so I'll always refer to you as governor, as a native New Yorker. Having said that, I will tell you, I love the fact that you're using the word credibility, because the heat that I've taken in calling to account the Democratic Party, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 2 things. I'm talking about credibility, and I'm fixated on it because I want you to position yourself to win. I do not like everything that I'm seeing from the GOP. I do not like everything I'm seeing from the Republican Party. I damn sure don't like everything I'm seeing from Donald Trump specifically, who's running the GOP. Let's just call it what it is. But on too many occasions, people want you to go out there and bloviate and spew venom in the direction of the man in the White House, instead of talking about what you're going to do and what you can do to take back the White House and to take back at least one house, if not both houses of Congress. They're not talking enough about that. And when you consider Jill Biden in the position that she took with her book, when you consider Kamala Harris and what she wrote in her book, talking about some of the things that transpired, some of the things that she didn't like, how she didn't feel supported. She talked about Governor Josh Shapiro out of Pennsylvania. She talked about Gavin Newsom out of California, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you tried to put up this front about togetherness, unity, competency, and that you had a plan, when in fact, that is proven not to be the case. And then when you consider a Democratic Party that one could easily argue, as we look at the GOP, religiously not necessarily having a plan, whether it would be health care, whether it's immigration. I'm not talking about Trump closing the borders. I'm talking about immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform that we still haven't achieved, to be quite honest with you. When you talk about these issues and you talk about them being devoid of a plan, then you look at the Democratic Party and you say, well, the Democratic Party could have had plans. They've had people that are competent and cogent enough to articulate, verbalize, and ultimately execute plans. But you focused on identity politics. You know, it's the woke culture, it's cancel culture, it's all of this stuff that's going on that is not really touching and tugging at the hearts of the American voter out there in the electorate. You're not going to do that. I'm one of them. And I'm telling you right now, the world has changed. It's 2026. And when you look at the Democratic Party and you talk about credibility and what they're lacking, the why is profound. It has to be addressed. Why is it that you're lacking credibility? Because you focused on the wrong things. And that gives the impression that you don't have a plan and you don't have a leader. Because if you did, you wouldn't be so focused on those other things as opposed to the economy, immigration, safety in the streets, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, Stephen, we have to take a break. But real quick, there's two parts of the game. There's offense and defense. They want to criticize Trump. Great, criticize Trump. Yeah. But what's the affirmative case? What are you going to do for me? What's the Democratic plan that's going to help me and my family? And I don't hear it. I don't hear a Democratic agenda that makes me feel, yes, this is my party. I believe in them. My future is going to be better. And I'm excited for the Democrats to take back this nation. I don't hear it. I hear Trump is bad. His policies are bad. A lot of criticism. Fine. That's part of the game, offense and defense. But what are you going to do for me? Right. Dead silence. And what they do say from this extreme left, which is just shoveling bullcrap, free buses, free rent, free food, free everything. Right. I know that's not true. Don't insult me. No one is talking to me. We're going to take a break. Don't go away. Good stuff with Stephen A. Smith.